Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Duolingo. It is time for another update, and we've had quite a serious extension to even lower prices since the previous video. And it's not that we weren't expecting to continue in this trend, but rather that we didn't require the continuation to be this strong. And this actually will require some readjustment to our expectations, because this does signal a potential shift in the market sentiment. Now, again, from a larger time frame perspective, we are still tracking the same pattern. We are still looking for this to be a potential leading diagonal in a 5-wave pattern, potentially within a wave 1, potentially within a wave A, and we are looking for a wave 2 or a wave B correction into this exact same area of support at the levels between the $235.6 all the way down to the $97 level. And within this correction, we have so far only formed a 3-wave pattern. Now, whether that is complete or not will remain to be seen, but we have achieved getting in such development into our last level of support. Yeah, some achievement. We have maximized our area of support, and now we cannot really look for another low to form if this wave 2 or wave B is still expected to hold and create the reversal to the upside, because a sustained break below the $97 level would strongly suggest that this structure would end up failing, creating the next movement to the upside, and that we should rather expect continuation to even new all-time lows, possibly after a more substantial relief rally, possibly in a more direct fashion. But what is certain is that we do not want to see the sustained break below the 78.6% retracement. Now, this is an interesting opportunity because from a structural point of view, this could very easily extend much lower within multiple counts, yeah? Especially right now, I cannot track what we have been previously considering an ABC pattern to form within this area as a complete structure. Not based on the current developments, at least I don't find this a likely interpretation. It is possible, even within a wave C, but I have my reservations. But from a risk-reward ratio perspective, this is at an incredible level. We are trading just above our last level of support while not having it broken just yet. Now, sure, the likelihood of success is decreased on such a structure within such a pattern, but the risk-reward ratio is incredibly strong at this point, because even within a wave C to the upside, we would be looking for an ideal target at the 100% extension of a wave A. Well, we would be looking at the $829 level. Now, does this mean it will succeed in creating this movement to the upside even if we get a stronger push? Clearly not. Other interpretations to lower prices could work out, but from such a low level, even within a relief rally, it might be interesting. And now I want to stop you before you go ahead and buy it, because this is not an endorsement. I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice, but I am just pointing out my considerations with this structure, with this movement to the downside being within such deep levels of support, because once again, we know that the sustained break below the $97 level would signal that we would be looking for a failure. But so far, this is not in place and we are trading just above this. And in such considerations, risk management is key, because while risk-reward ratio is at the highest levels possible within this area, without strong risk management, this can still end up being an extremely bad decision to look for a position within. Now, with that said, if you want to get access to our monthly top picks where we identify for you high quality structures with clear levels of accumulation and clear levels of invalidation, you can check out our channel newsletter. The link for sign up is in the description and it is completely free. We will be sending out our first list this weekend. Yeah, our trade setup approved watch list you can track with us on YouTube or on your own if you have such preferences. We will be certainly covering these stocks and we will be certainly tracking and focusing on such opportunities now and in the future. So I highly recommend to sign up, because once again, it is completely free. It comes at no cost to you. All you need to do is provide your email details so we can contact you with our choices, yeah, with our handpicked opportunities and assets. Now, let's go back to the chart. So, within this structure, we need to identify the levels of resistance that need to be broken for different scenarios to be ruled out of the possibility to form. Now, for that, we also need to be aware that at any point within these areas of resistance, we could reverse and push below our last level of support. Yeah, we could form another low at any point, and we will have a continuous area of resistance to quite high levels on this chart, and that is within this wave to the downside alone, which could have formed a bottom, but realistically it doesn't need to have a bottom in place. Now, in the previous videos, we have been looking for a couple of ideas for extensions to lower prices. At this point, I could see either one of them having worked out, yeah, either within this orange structure where we were looking for an ending diagonal within this wave C, and honestly, even within this yellow structure, it might actually work out. Yeah, I probably find that a little less likely, so we might as well even hide that. But for context, we are looking for a 5-wave pattern if this really truly is a wave C. Now, does this need to have developed in this pattern? Clearly not. I could argue even that this would work out as a WXY if we want to consider a potentially full count, but this is not what I need to track. I don't need to come up with the different scenarios where a bottom could be in place, because what I'm interested in are the levels of resistance. Yeah, sure, I have a couple of scenarios which would allow a bottom to be in place. That's all we need to know. So let's focus on the potential extensions to lower prices. Firstly, let's start from the larger time frame perspective. We could be looking for this wave C to the downside to extend to even lower prices. Now, it could do that within a couple of scenarios itself, so we could be looking at a 1, 2, 3, where the wave 3 would actually need to extend considerably lower, or I could consider that the wave A had bottomed here instead and the wave C would have started here. Well, in such a case, I would be looking for a 1, 2, 3, still within an ending diagonal, and then I would need to break the relevant levels of resistance for a follow-up wave 4, and if not, we could expect very easily a 5th wave to take us to even lower prices before we would consider this wave C already complete. Then, in such a scenario, with the assumption that a wave 3 bottom would be in place, I would need to break the relevant level of resistance up to the 61.8% retracement. Yeah, we would be watching the $211.4. This is what we need to break, the 61.8% retracement, for a signal that this wave to the downside is already complete. Sure, other corner cases could be possible, but this is what I find likely. For me, the break above this last level of resistance, which is also on top of this swing high, structural resistance present there as well, is the signal that this structure would already be complete. Although remember, this assumes a bottom within a wave 3 would be in place within this area, that we don't extend lower, because then an area of resistance would need to be adjusted, and we would have broken already our large area of support most likely. Now, we won't keep this necessarily on the chart completely, fully as this, because we have internal levels of resistance we could be tracking. And what I want you to be aware is that we will be within resistance until we reach this level. There will be a range of different scenarios that could allow extensions to lower prices, so there is a lot to prove from this stock to actually allow the breakout to occur. Only above this level can we really get a signal that it should be more trustworthy for the direct breakout, or potentially if it forms internally an initial 5-wave move to the upside, that could also be promising. But for now, let's move into the next possible continuation to lower prices. So we move within a slightly smaller time frame, and I would consider here that this structure could extend to lower prices itself. So I would still be tracking this as a wave 3 to the downside, and I would be focusing here on a wave C. Yeah, we can even label this. I'm not going to add the wave 3 on top. It's not really necessary at this point. Just keep in mind the level. But for this wave C, we would be looking for a 5-wave pattern to occur. Now, in such a case, we could be looking for a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. I cannot rule out that this wave 3 would have bottomed here and that we would still need to break above the relevant levels of resistance for a follow-up wave 4. This would be my preferred interpretation for continuation to lower prices within a wave C in this area. So I would be watching then the levels up to the 61.8% retracement at the $145.6. Breaking above that would allow me to look for something potentially more bullish, but even then, we would still be within the large area of resistance that we have here in white. Keep in mind, we didn't keep it on the chart fully, but the pressure is there as well. It will be even overlapping with this area of resistance in green that we will track for such an expectation. So let's track this in green now. And then we have yet another scenario that would allow us to look within an even smaller time frame to lower prices. So I would be watching here the idea that, okay, we might have formed a bottom within this wave 3 here in green. We might have formed a bottom within this wave 3 in green here. In the end, I could see another low take place in the scenario where the wave 3 would have formed an A, B, C structure in this area. We would have here a wave 4 correction and then an A, B, C structure within a wave 5 where, yeah, instead of forming a completely additional wave 4 and a 5, we would have it already in place, this wave 4 and most of the wave 5, but we would actually still need another low within this area. Now, we will not be tracking this in the green interpretation, and I will consider that perhaps we would be able to look for resistance in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 in the idea of an impulse. Yeah, we would then have to watch the levels of resistance start at the 23.6% retracement, and this is where it becomes a little bit problematic, because even if I am to track this as a potential wave 3 bottom here, and have this as the wave 4 and the 5th wave here, where in the wave 5 I would expect an ABC structure, nothing is stopping it from forming a larger ABC structure, yeah? Even this movement to the downside could extend, so even then I would need to watch for even higher resistance levels, although keep in mind within this current retracement in a supposed wave 4, we have pushed perfectly into the 38.2% retracement, which is the ideal target for a wave 4, but even here, I cannot be looking for a breakout, a signal that this structure is not going to extend even lower directly, without breaking the 78.6% retracement for the entire pattern. So yeah, I would actually need to also track this level of resistance up to the $113 level. So as you notice, there are many options in which we could be tracking continuation to lower prices. We are basically under resistance from the current level up to the $211 level, and that is within scenarios that allow this structure to extend directly to lower prices. Now, what is there to be done currently? So we are looking for the reversal to the upside. We are looking for some more reliable structure to occur than what has really formed here in a single trading day, but currently I would be watching the levels of support down to the 78.6% retracement for a potential 1-2 setup or something like that. Now, don't confuse this for a trade setup itself. It's still within an extremely small time frame, and we have plenty of scenarios that would allow extensions to even lower prices, and there are scenarios that would allow extensions lower even beyond what I have shown you here. But we are watching the $94 level. We do not want to see that broken ideally, and we would like to form an initial 5-wave move to the upside that would allow us to track a higher probability trade setup within the follow-up 3-wave correction that will also find itself very much deep into our larger area of support. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and if you enjoy our content and you want to support us, you can check out our channel membership. The link for sign up is in the description, or you can click the join button, and you will even get access to a couple of cool perks for which you can learn more by watching the channel update video or the membership video. And other than that, let me know what else you would like me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.